Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I guess I'm returning to you for one last album review, and this is for the last album that I was interested in to review for this Friday's releases, which is for Deafheaven's new album, Infinite Granite, or Granite, or however you pronounce the last word for it, that I'm going to be reviewing. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for this Deafheaven new album and let you know my thoughts on it. So let's dive into this review. Now, I did not think I'd do a review for this album, but what did I think of it? It was average. Not the best thing, but it was something to get us through this Friday's releases. This past Friday's releases. But Shellstar was not a bad song, but not my favorite song in particular. It is the opening track to the album, but I don't know, I just found it to drag on for a while for the runtime it was going for. But the next song after that, I think the runtime for Shellstar was like 6 minutes and 6 seconds, if I remember correctly. Uh, but In Blur was a very good song. I really enjoyed that. And Great Massive Color, favorite of mine. Um, Neptune Raining Diamonds was a great, I guess you could say, instrumental. It's like a instrumental track, so it's not really a very long song. It's like 3 minutes, but it's quite enjoyable. Then comes the second half of the album, which is from 5 to 8, and from tracks 1, 5, 6, 7, and 8, I wasn't really feeling for those songs that much. I didn't hate them, I just think they weren't bad, but it still brought the rating down for what I'm gonna rate this album. Um, George Clark's vocals in this album is not bad, but I think this album could have used a little more production work, in my opinion, but hey, this is what we're getting. So, Lament for Wasps was a pretty long track. It did drag on for a while, but it wasn't terrible, so I gave that a 4.5 out of 5. Then comes Villain, and that track was, it was fine. I just felt there were some boring moments in the track, in my opinion. Like some moments where it feels like this album could put you to sleep. Kind of shit, but in a good way, I should say. Sorry, my throat's getting to me a bit. I haven't eaten lunch yet, so I gotta eat lunch pretty soon after this review. The gnashing was, I think drum work, it was very good, and instrumentally it was very good. But the way George Clark is singing in certain moments in the song, I don't know if I'm feeling for it. Chorus is not so bad, but yeah, the verses aren't grabbing my attention as much and making me feel interested in the song. But Other Language is the second to last song, and that one was iffy. It wasn't a bad song, it just didn't, like I said, didn't pique my interest. And finally, Mombasa was a very outstanding song. Even though the first half of the song tends to drag for a bit, I think the ending to this ending to the song, I meant to say, does very well. So it really picks up towards the end of the song. I think after 5.5 minutes of a draggy-ish kind of song, it does pick up. So I gave it a pretty good rating of a 5 out of 5. So structurally and execution and production wise, this album could have used a little more work, but uh, it's not a bad album. It's just could have been a little better, in my opinion. But keep in mind, it's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me on it. It's just how I felt when I was listening to this record. And it's called Granite, I think is what it's called, or Granite. I'm still trying to figure out how to pronounce it right, so please forgive me if I'm not pronouncing it very well. The last word, it's infinite granite, I think. Uh, but yeah, overall, I think Deafheaven's new album, Infinite Granite, if I'm pronouncing it right, was not a bad album. It was average. Uh, Not the best thing I've heard this past Friday's releases, but it's something. I didn't get to review it till now because I just wasn't sure if I wanted to check it out. But my favorite recommended songs for you guys to listen to for this album is In Blur, Great Massive Color, and Neptune Raining Diamonds, and Mombasa as well. The other tracks, you can listen to it, but they tend to drag for a bit. That's just how I felt when I was listening to it. Maybe you'll have a different opinion about what you think of the album. But for a score, I'm going to give Deafheaven's Infinite Granite's album a 7.5 out of 10. This was average. It's not horrible, so that's a good thing. Uh, it just could have used a little extra work on some production sounds with the album, and to not make the song sound so dull sometimes. Because there were sometimes some occasions in the songs where the songs tended to sound a little dull and just like, I feel like I'm gonna go to sleep kind of shit. But I almost yawned myself even listening to this album. I was not hating it, uh, I don't know how I feel about it. It's not a bad album, Infinite Granite. So yeah, comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of the Deafheaven new album, Infinite Granite, if you've heard it. And if you liked this album review, hopefully you did, and hopefully I pronounced it right. Because I tend to pronounce things wrong sometimes. It just depends on how I'm pronouncing an album and its name and all that. But if you did like this album review I made for you guys, for Deafheaven's Infinite Granite, comment below and let me know your thoughts on it. Tap like on this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you can to support the channel. I will be returning to you for finally the Iron Maiden track review this time, because I wanted to listen to this album. And after this, it's just going to be track reviews and other special videos and other things like that. So I'm going to have a busy Saturday and a busy weekend for reviews. But I hope you did enjoy this album review for Deafheaven's Infinite Granite. I did the best I could to make it as good as possible. And you'll definitely be seeing some track reviews throughout the day. And the iCarly episode 12 review is going to be out for the reboot sometime later today. So definitely stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed this album review for Deafheaven Infinite Granite. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in my next video.